Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming a book review. I never film full book reviews for one book, so bear with me if this sucks ass. I'm sorry. Who cares? Banana pears? I don't know. I guess you read the title of this video when you clicked on it. The book I'm reviewing is Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is not an ARC, this is a finished copy that arrived early at my local store. And yes, you should not really buy books before release date. I have another copy incoming, so I'm already supporting the author. I'm not gonna keep this. I wasn't sure if I would manage to read it when my copy will arrive because it's quite a long time until it will arrive, and I'm leaving for Japan, thereby I bought this. And I'm sorry if that's a super asshole thing to do. I really wanted to read this book and I don't regret buying it, but I was really unsure if I was going to. That was a long explanation for no reason at all. So let's get into the review. Priory of the Orange Tree is Samantha Shannon's newest release. She's known for the series The Bone season. I have not read that, so I don't have any experience with the author from before. This is a standalone fantasy. I just want to give a super short general thoughts before is that I really enjoyed this. I liked so many parts of it. When I think about the parts that I liked, I would say that I loved the book, but then I think about some small parts that I didn't enjoy as much. Really, let's say, drag down the story for me. I expected to absolutely love this, it will be one of my new favorite books, but it wasn't that. But I'm not by any means saying it was bad, because I really enjoyed it, and there was, as I said, some parts I totally loved. This review will be spoiler free, but I'm gonna go into the synopsis and I'm gonna talk a bit about it, because if I don't talk about the synopsis at all, it would be a bit hard to me to talk about what I think about the book. The reason I'm saying this now before saying the synopsis is because when people talk about this book, they don't say what it's about at all. The only things that I heard before I started reading it was it's massive and it's a fantasy and it has an FF romance. That doesn't tell me anything whatsoever about what the book is actually about, so I'm gonna actually try to talk a bit about it, not of course to spoil anything, but just set up the general characters and where we are. If you don't want any information about the book whatsoever than what I just said, then don't watch this, I guess. That's what I'm trying to come to here. Okay, let's go into the synopsis. I'm dropping down the book because it's heavy. I have written down a couple of names here because I was afraid I would forget them, just so you know. I don't have notes or anything. I have it all in my head. Priory of the Orange Tree is set in this amazing fantasy world. It says in the beginning that it's a bit inspired by our world, and you do recognize traits from our world, but it doesn't feel like our world at all. It feels really real and authentic, and it feels like you're really in there, and I love that. That was one of the strongest parts of the whole book. In the beginning, we are set in two different places of this world we are in. We are in the East, and in the East reminds me quite a lot of Japan, because the East has closed in on itself because there's this virus going around, and it reminds me a bit when Japan closed its borders back in the day that I don't remember the time of, but if you know Japanese history, you will know what I'm talking about. And there's only a few places that it's open to because, well, of this virus going around. It's not virus, it's a plague. The plague going around. We have the character Tana. I don't know how to say her name, but I'm saying Tana. And she has all her life been trained up to become this dragon rider. And as you know, the book has dragons. One day, this is what the book starts with, so it's not really a spoiler, but one day when she's at the beach on the night, right before her ceremony to, well, become a dragon rider, she finds this person on the beach, which means that he has been imported into the land illegally, and that's not allowed because of, you know, the plague, and it can be a danger to anyone. And instead of reporting him to, you know, the authorities, like she should, because she was afraid the ceremony the next day would be cancelled if she did, she smuggles him in and makes a friend help her to take him to this other dude. This other dude is named Nicholas. I don't know exactly how to say that name, but he is not a citizen of the East. He is a citizen of the West. He has been exiled to the East and has been living there for the past 7 years. These are the two characters that's important in the East at the moment. Then we have the West, and in the West we are in a country called Inis, and I don't know how to pronounce that either, but bear with me. There we follow Eid. Her name is written E-A-D. I would say Eid, but Yod sounds super strange, so you know, banana. She is like one of the ladies in the court of the queen in Inis. The queen is called Sabran. This whole country and a lot of the countries in the west follow the same religion. This religion basically bases itself upon the fact that the queen's line, her house, her bloodline, is the thing that's stopping the Nameless One from returning. And the Nameless One was this big, massive beast, dark thing just made of evilness that plagued the countries thousands of years ago, or 1,000 years ago. And now the creatures of the Nameless One are starting to return, and the religion they're basing themselves on is that as long as the Queen Sabran's bloodline is on the throne, he won't be able to return. And Eid is sent there basically to protect her. So she's like undercover. She has 2 identities, but I don't want to talk too much about the fact that she has that. But like, that's in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler. That's the basis of the plot. Some more thoughts then. As I said, the world is freaking amazing. I love how it has backgrounds and it has so many other great things. We also have a character named Loth who has been like banished / exiled from Innis behind the queen's back because he was a threat apparently. And we follow his journey as well, but like, he's not a main character. I guess we mostly hear from Tana and Eid. I have read some reviews and people say that it's like a lot of characters and like impossible to talk about because of that or something. I don't think that it has that many characters. Like, you really just follow the same ones all the way through. If you read Wheel of Time and you talk about it has many characters, you will see that this book doesn't really, and it's really after like you're into the book, you really have control of what's going on. It doesn't feel like it's out of control and you're like, I have no idea who they're talking about right now. I would say that this book took me a long time to read compared to other stories. I would expect that since it's an adult fantasy, but like the first 200 pages were so hard to get through. My head was spinning. I did understand what was going on, but I was just struggling so hard to read and concentrate on the pages. After a while I just broke through and then it was flowing really nice for me. But that's just like generally putting yourself into a new world can be really hard sometimes. Things I loved. Eid is like the greatest character. I loved her like with all my heart. She's, by the way, the character who is in an affirmative relationship. I ship them and I just approve that affirmative relationship is like the only romance we get in it happening on the page. We have also the other character, Nicholas, as I talked about. He had a romance, but like that's in the past and he thinks back on it, and he was also like romantically involved with a man. So that's what I really enjoyed about the story, is the diversity in fantasy, especially adult fantasy. There's basically next to non-diversity, and that's what makes this story even greater. As I said, the characters are really likable and you do cheer for them and want to know what's gonna happen to them. I feel like it's a really character focused story, but when I say that, it feels like I'm saying that it's only character driven and not plot driven, because it is. Like, a lot of things do happen, but thought was the thing I had sort of tiny issues with. Not that it was bad, it was just sort of predictable for me. They kept saying that this thing was gonna happen. When we start the story, the thing that they're saying will happen and the thing they're all scared of will happen is sort of already started to happen, and then it happens and then it's over. It's not like a surprise when it happens or how to solve it ish. It's like a story as well, like we need to find out how to stop this, and then they do, and then it's over. So in that, there was no surprises, and I am the kind of person who really prefers plot over characters. So of course, the characters has to be good, but if the plot is boring or predictable, something like that, it doesn't matter to me how great the characters are, because I need a plot that keeps the story engaging. And here, the plot wasn't engaging enough for me. I'm not saying, as I said, it was bad. It was just, it felt flat to me, and I wanted to read this book and be like, oh my god, best fantasy book. It was a great fantasy book, but not as great as I thought it would be. And there was also the whole Nicholas, his whole journey in this book that I have talked about. He is the dude who is exiled, and his whole story doesn't engage with the other stories well. It's just there, and then he sort of brushes the other characters like barely. Like, he does meet them, but it doesn't like really do anything for them or do anything for the plot to progress forward. He has like this whole character development arc, and I didn't care. I didn't care about him at all. And as I said, I need plot, not character-driven plot things. And I've been thinking, like, couldn't we have just cut him out? And I don't know. As I said in the beginning, this dude has smuggled himself into the East, and there was a whole plot with him-ish, and also like it connected back to the West because of course that's where it came from, and all that was just there. I wouldn't say that I forgot about it because those storylines did close up, but it was closed up in such a weird way because it was made such a big deal out of it, and then it was just like nah, and then it did something else-ish. So I was like, wait, why did we have these stories here if like they weren't gonna mean something? I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Eve was just amazing, and I loved herness. I love what she could do. I loved her. She was my favorite character. I liked Tana. I felt we spent more time with Eve, and then I thereby cared more about her, but I loved Tana's story and journey, and her dragon was amazing. The main ship in this book was great. The end leaves me why, but that's okay. It's fine. This is like a part of the world building, but I loved the Priory of the Orange Tree, which is not a spoiler, but if you read a book or if you read a book, you know what I'm talking about. When they said these words, I was like, yes. Everything about this title, all that was the best and strongest part of the book for me because it just really gave so much to the story, and I just love the whole idea behind it, and I loved it. Overall thoughts all the way in the end of this weird video is that the world here is so strong, the characters are amazing, the plot is really really good. It's just doesn't fall completely in my taste. It's big, but it doesn't feel actually that big. 800 pages is not like an average for a fantasy book, I would say. I could have had more in this world. It doesn't need to be a sequel, but I could have had more set in the same world. I thought this was going to be a 5-star read. It's more 4.25, 4.5. It's a really good book. If you've been wanting to read it, I do encourage you to pick it up. I read it in 3 days, so clearly I didn't have a life. If people ask me if I recommend it, yes. You will get an amazing fantasy world. I will probably recommend this to a lot of people. I think that's what I wanted to say. I probably have forgotten something, and I hope I came across with my thoughts in an okay way. If you want to talk about the book, do so down below in the comments. Just remember to mark your spoilers. You will see me soon in a new video. I actually filmed a whole review. What is this? Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed. Do pick up Priory. It is out on the 26th of February, so it's not long until it's out, and I hope you enjoyed the story and the book, and you will see me soon in a new video. Goodbye!